What's up, guys? I hope y'all are doing well. Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a minute since we've done a video in the studio, but I wanted to go ahead and take a second to address one very important and highly subjective topic, and that is Ableton versus Logic. Which one do you go with for the beginners? If you're an intermediate or a pro and you're thinking about switching, what are the pros? What are the benefits? I'm gonna go ahead and try to shine some light on that topic and highlight the top features of each one. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and take a look in the Logic and start there. Let's take a look at the DAW. So I have a project here pulled up. It's called Blood on the Streets. It's a beat that I have on my website, and basically we're gonna take a look at this clap section because the first top feature of mine for Logic Pro X is gonna be what's called track alternatives, and this is actually something that I came to appreciate highly from Ableton. Doesn't make sense, but let me explain. In Ableton, you have what's called a session-based workflow, or a clip-based workflow within the session view. And this is where you can create little clips here, and you can combine them all together to experiment. But I wanted something like that in Logic when I came back to Logic after first touching Ableton, and I found it in track alternatives. So what that is basically, say I have this clap here, this region, and it's on 2 and 4. I'll go ahead and play the beat. Very simple on 2 and 4, common structure. Say I wanted to just, for whatever reason, have it on 2, 3, and 4, but I didn't want to lose this and have to re-record it. I just go ahead and do my command for track alternatives. And there we are. You see this little beat I pulled up here? This is my alternative. I could even rename it if I wanted to. But I would go ahead and then just go ahead and erase that and say I wanted to do something else here, like maybe that kind of clap. I would just go ahead and set that right there, and I would go ahead and just hit record. But for demonstrative purposes, that's what I wanted, and say I wanted to roll with that, I could have it. But later on, say I wanted to go back to the original and didn't want to have to record it, go to A, there's my original. I was able to experiment without losing what I had originally made, and because of that, Logic has been just such a tremendous program for me to really be comfortable and experiment all at the same time. So I love track alternatives. Now, the second thing that I love about Logic, this is a top feature, is full customization of the workflow within it. This is something that, my gosh, Ableton needs to catch up with. I love Ableton, but man, they need to adopt this from Logic. If they could adopt this from Logic, I'm telling you, I would use Ableton a whole lot more. But basically, in Logic, you can customize exactly what key commands and shortcuts are comfortable for you, what you can remember, what works for you. You can customize the DAWS GUI so that way it can show exactly what shortcuts you want at the top toolbar. What you're not comfortable with or don't remember, just put in the top toolbar. What shortcuts are easier to remember for you, just go ahead and type it up. I'll go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. So we'll go ahead and look into Logic again, and let's see. So what I mean by this is all of this right here, this is me customizing it. I wanted ticks right there. I wanted note repeat and spot erase right there. My dot on the top of this, all this right here, I wanted to set it up like this. I wanted the metronome right here. I wanted my display right here to show my loop cycle. I wanted it to show the speed. I wanted it to show my tempo, my key signature right there, my time signature. I wanted it to show my CPU. I was able to fully customize this toolbar to show exactly what I wanted. And on top of that, I've got so many key commands in here that aren't even stock. They're just easier for me to remember. An example of that would be just what I showed you. The track alternatives, I believe, by default is a different key command, but I went ahead and I was able to make it Control Option Command D for duplicate because I like that. And the way, another one, I wanted to make duplicate region easier because I duplicate regions a lot. I don't want to have to go and do something like Command D or whatever it was before. I just wanted to be able to be fast and say, hey, all right, I've got this 808. Let's go ahead and duplicate it for 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Next thing. Like, that is so easy. I was able to customize a workflow that works for me. I've taken shortcuts from Ableton that I loved a lot, and I integrated them into Logic to make it more fluid for me. Okay, so the third thing that I have come to just love about Logic so much is what's called quick automation. This thing is a lifesaver. What this basically is with quick automation, we can assign all automation, no matter what it is, to one knob or one dial on your MIDI controller. I'll go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. Great, so here we are in Logic, and I've got the string section pulled up now. I've got this section highlighted, and say I wanted to adjust the cutoff parameter with one knob on my Native Instruments Control 61 MK2 keyboard. All I would do is turn on Quick Automation Access, which is already turned on, and I would just start moving that one knob, and there you go. You see that we are controlling it, and we could even record that in right now. Say, all right, great, I like that. I want to go ahead and I want to adjust the direction for that. I then go ahead and pull up the directional mixer. I tap on the directional mixer and I just play it, and I did make the adjustments on the fly again using the exact same knob. No need to MIDI map, and I can do that with any plugin, any parameter on this DAW in this production. It is awesome. So the fourth top feature of Logic that I wanted to go ahead and shine some light on is comping audio. This is a huge advantage that Logic has over Ableton. And the one thing about it that I love is how it also creates crossfades. When you make comps, you can make multiple comps and you can rename those comps. And it's just so easy to do it with Logic's quick swipe comping feature. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean. So here we are in Logic, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this. It's a little beatbox section I made for the chorus, and it's not something that made it in the record, but it's just something I recorded for demonstrative purposes right now. And basically, I'll go ahead and show you. Right here, we have 4 takes. Now, they're all slightly different in the ending, so say I wanted to go ahead and make a combination. All I do is create some swipes. Right here, I just go ahead and make a comp right there. Now that ending felt a little too heavy, so I'll go ahead and I'll just take the ending from the same comp 3, and we'll just take the beginning from the first one. Go ahead and take that. So easy. And then on top of that, I mean, I could say I was like, I don't really want, I want to experiment more. I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and duplicate the comp, and then we'll rename the comp right there, and rename the comp. We'll call this one Beatbox Variation 2 or Better Comp. Right. And there we go. We have a whole new comp we can start making different versions of. We'll take that part of that. We'll take this part of this. And we'll just go ahead and add more to that. And that's so cool. And say that I like this part right here, this first 4 bars. Say I like that the most in this section and I wanted to repeat it. Just take that and I'd repeat it right there. And then I go ahead and highlight that. Highlight this whole section. And now we've just repeated a section that we liked a lot for the better comp. And it's just this comping feature in Logic is just so cool. I can't believe I almost said Ableton. This comping feature in Logic is awesome. It is just one of my favorite features of Logic, period. So the fifth and final thing that I just love about Logic is the notepad. It's a top feature to me. It may not be big to a lot of people. A lot of people may not use it, but trust me, this thing is very, very handy. And it's one thing that I haven't been able to find in a lot of DAWs. So let's go ahead and take a look, and I'll explain to you exactly how it can come in handy for you. So here we are back in Logic, and I have it set up to where when I press N on my keyboard, I get Notepad, again courtesy of Apple, allowing me to customize and tailor Logic's workflow to my workflow. And when I pull up the notepad, I can create notes for the project or the track exclusively that I'm working on. So say I was working and having a hard time and I got writer's block, which this does happen a lot. I just go ahead and I come in here and I'll create, finish comp on vocal take, and bam. And say I need something else to do, I would say on this particular track up here in smoke effects, I would just say add subtractive EQ to 20 kilohertz and add experiment with auto filter. Now that way when I come back from my break, I come back and I know exactly where I picked off from and what I need to do. I need to finish the vocal comp, I need to add some subtractive EQ for the smoking effects track, and experiment with an auto filter. I can't tell you how handy this comes in if you're the kind of producer who works on something and when you get a little frustrated, you need to take a step back, but you don't want to lose where you're at. So you don't have to. You just put it in your notes, take a minute, take a breather, go do what you got to do, run some errands, clear your head, do what you got to do to get creative again. Come back and you see exactly what you left off needing to do, and then just attack it, So the first thing about Ableton that I want to tell you that I love so much is the GUI. I love how crisp and clean and modern this whole thing is. It looks great. When it comes to producing music, the DAW, unfortunately for me, I need it to look good. I need to be visually stimulated by what I'm seeing in the DAW to feel like I'm making something cool, because we are artists as producers. Whether you're an artist or a music producer, you or a mixing engineer or master, I believe that we are all artists, and the DAW is our it's basically like our canvas, and what we work in here is going to be our final art, and we need something that looks good. And that also ties into one of the other things that I really, really like that is also in the same, number one thing, and that is the color palette that Ableton gives you. I can right click on this and you'll see all the colors that I can work with here. They're very bright, very crisp. I love that a lot. This pink, it's really dope. They've even got a black in here. They've got some really great colors in here. And I love the color palette. I think it looks good. I think the design is awesome. I love how Ableton allows you to basically customize the whole color scheme of the DAW. So I now have it gray, but it's typically like this offset white. And I really appreciate how Ableton allows us to just basically play with the color of the DAW and make it our own. Some people use blue, some people use pink color schemes. I really like having a canvas that works for me. So the second thing that I really, really, really love about Ableton, and this is one a lot of people are going to agree on, and I'm sure you've heard of it, warping. Warping is so freaking dope, and it puts a smile on my face because it makes life so easy. Warping in audio in Ableton is basically the process of taking an audio file and making it in time with your project. So if I have a sample or loop that was recorded at 145 and I'm putting it in a song that's set at 90, Ableton is going to take the audio sample or loop and it's going to stretch it, and it's going to use its algorithm to fit perfectly in time with your production, while still, and this is the best part, preserving a good amount of the transients and the audio quality, so it doesn't sound so low or so high when you put a slow loop into a faster tempoed project. It's just so dope. I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. So here we are in this Ableton project. Again, this is Fear. It's just another project that is on my website, another beat up there, and I'll go ahead and let you hear this. We'll start right here on this one. Now, say I wanted to add some kind of percussive element right there. I would just go ahead and open up Splice, and I'm on this Fabian Mazur Vital Trap Pack. Shout out to Fabian. He's without a doubt my favorite producer right now from Denmark. If you don't know him, go check him out. And let's see. We'll go ahead and add this. Yeah, we'll go ahead and add that. That's set at 105. And I want to go ahead and add that in. Let's drop that right there. We're just going to slide that out just a bit. Get that lined up nicely. And look, it's already warped it. It's made it fit perfectly with the tempo of 90. And I didn't have to do nothing. And if we open this up right here, you'll see where it's already warped it. And let's go ahead and take a listen. I'm going to drop this down just a bit. That is awesome. It took no work on my part. I didn't have to go in there and take transients and manually shift it or anything like that. That is awesome. So Ableton really has one up on a lot of DAWs because of that, and just how smooth and seamlessly it is. It's awesome, guys. So the third feature I want to go ahead and show you guys about Ableton is the library. It is so easy to utilize all of your tools and have them at your disposal in your hand like that. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I mean. Alright, so here we are in Ableton again, and we're going to go ahead and focus on this section right here where we have our library. With Ableton Live 10, we have this new thing called collections, and it's basically a way for you to sort out to your taste whatever is important to you. I have my favorite samples here, my Swiss Army tools, which are basically my mixing go-to plugins, my favorite VSTs or instruments. And then, you've got the usual Ableton instruments, audio effects. You've got, I've got my own packs here that I use. But that's a lot of stuff. That is a lot of stuff to go through when you want to do something on the fly and you're in the moment of inspiration. So say I'm working on something and I'm like, man, I could really use a FabFilter Pro Q2 now. I just press Command F and it locks me into the search within the library in Ableton. And I go ahead and type in Pro Q. And right there, I have my FabFilter Pro Q2. I'll just drag it into the effect rack and bam, just like that, I've got what I need without having to go looking for anything. That fast. It is awesome. Now the fourth top feature that I would like to highlight and talk to you guys about with Ableton Live is going to be groups within groups. I can't tell you how awesome this is or how much everybody wanted it from Ableton Live 9 when I was in there, and how much I am dying for it in Logic. You don't even know. Like, Logic, please, come on, Apple, come on. Let me go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. So here we are in Ableton, and we're looking at these snares right here. So I have 4 snares, so I'm gonna go ahead and highlight those, and I'm gonna group those, and we're just gonna call this grouped snares. And then I also got these hi-hats here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and group those, Command G, and I'm gonna call this one hi-hats. And then say I wanna go ahead and group those two, and go ahead and group them, and we're gonna call these percussion. And then say I've got these drums here, this kick. I'm gonna go ahead and group that with the lo-fi snare, which I wouldn't normally do. And I'm going to call this one kick. And then say I want to take that in snares, I want to take that in percussion, and I want to group those, and we'll call these drums. That is awesome. So cool. Like, seriously, come on, Logic, give it to us, please. Ableton is killing it right now with features like this. Now, the fifth thing that I want to go ahead and highlight within Ableton, and this is a big one, is going to be drum racks. Drum racks are awesome because they allow you to create basically libraries that consist of your favorite samples that you can then play and assign to your MIDI controller. And then on top of that, you can add effects to each sample within the drum rack and make it unique to your own taste. Let me show you what I mean. Awesome, so here we are in Ableton. I've got this bombastic drum pulled up. It's a drum rack that I created, and there it consists of samples from a whole bunch of different libraries that I have, from Splice, the libraries that I've bought. And I've got this hi-hat here, for example. Say I want to go ahead and I want to add an echo to it. I'd add an echo, and I want to add a reverb to kind of make this unique. I'd add that there, and we'll just go ahead and play that now. Now you've got this weird, wompy, echoing hi-hat, and you can just go ahead and fill this thing up with any sample you want, create your own collection, kind of discover your own sound with these drum racks and design your own sound from there with the ability to add different, effects, and then even add effect racks. So it's the sky's the limit with Ableton and their drum racks. So on that note, let's go ahead and get on to the next feature. So the sixth top feature of Ableton that is huge, and this is like cutting edge huge, that's been there for a while, but like no one else is really doing it still, is what's called audio effects racks. Audio effects racks is basically the way that Ableton allows you to take different effects such as reverb, EQ, compressor, whatever effect you can think of, and you can bundle it all together within what's called an audio effect rack, which has macro controls. You can then assign multiple parameters to a single macro control, and you can keep adding and adding effects within the effects, and it just becomes the sky's the limit. Let me show you what I mean. So here we are in Ableton, and I've got this effects device pulled up, and right here we have our macro controls showing, and say we wanted to assign this to macro 1. Now macro 1 controls the envelope, and say we also wanted to throw in something like an auto pan. Go ahead and throw that in right there, and then we can go ahead and assign the amount to macro 1 as well, or macro 2 if we prefer, and assign this one to macro 3. And now we've got a few parameters here that can be controlled with different macros, and as you can see, we're modulating right there. And it's really, really awesome. If you want to go more in depth with your mappings, you can even open this part up right here, and you can create your own chains, and this goes a step farther. So Ableton really, really, really pushes the boundary with their audio effects racks. Now the final top feature that I have for Ableton is its push to. Ableton has built their own MIDI controller that is fully built and integrated with their software, so you can be creative on the fly and be hands-on at the same time. This thing is awesome. Personally, I've used it, I've owned one. I don't have one anymore. I just found that it wasn't really for my workflow because it uses a lot of the clip-based session view workflow, which wasn't really for me. But the fact that they have a MIDI controller that allows you to work on the fly and be hands-on is awesome, because Logic doesn't have that. A lot of companies don't have something like that, but Ableton does, and it works awesome. It's great for producing on the moment, for live shows. It's just, it's insane. I really, really, really love it, and I would honestly consider getting it again if I started using the session view more often. So yeah guys, that's Ableton versus Logic. Which one do I prefer? Me personally, I use Logic, and it's going to be my preferred one only because I'm more comfortable with it, and it has features more geared towards an artistry, such as the easy quick comping for vocals and the track alternatives, and the customizability of the key command functions. But I definitely always encourage Ableton. I love to go to it because Logic can get very stale sometimes, and you need to get out of your comfort zone and go into other things to kind of discover new sounds, and Ableton has definitely helped out with that, and I don't think there's a better DAW to do that than in Ableton. So I definitely opt for both, and I encourage you to do so as well. But I hope this helps shine some light on the pros of each of the DAWs, as well as a few of the downsides. So if you're looking as a beginner which one to invest in, hopefully this helped you if you're an intermediate or pro looking to make the switch. I hope this highlighted a few things that may help you make that switch or may help you decide to stay where you're at. But nonetheless, I want to thank you so much for coming and checking out this video. Until next time, guys, good vibes and peace.